wealth strategist, and I am here to help you make money and become the person that you need to be to make it and keep it. In this video, we're going to talk about leasing cars. Should you lease or should you buy? That is the question. So what I'm going to do is tell you about the pros and the cons of leasing a vehicle and what I recommend that you do. Now, before that, I want you to just go ahead, like this video, because I know you're going to like it anyway, and make sure you hit that subscribe button and help me get my algorithm up. All right, but we're going to get right into it. Leasing versus buying. Now, you can lease a car, and there's pros to leasing and there's cons to leasing. Now, I'm going to give you the pros of leasing because it's really up to you. You can make the decision that you want. But I will just go ahead and tell you that I'm not so sure that leasing is a good idea. It just depends on who you are. It depends on what you want. It depends on what you need to do. And it depends on what your goals are. So leasing is good for some people. Let me tell you the pros of leasing. Leasing a car is great because then you have a car that's trouble-free because maintenance is covered. But at the same time, even if you bought the car new, guess what? Most cars don't break down to about maybe the fourth or fifth year that it might need some type of major repairs. So driving a leased car just to cut for it to be maintenance free because the maintenance is covered, I don't know that that's such a good idea. However, it's a pro. Also, if you lease a car, you're always driving the latest and greatest model car. I mean, because every 2 to 3 years, you got to renew your lease, and every 2 to 3 years, then you're going to get another new car. At the same time, you can drive a higher priced car that you might not otherwise have been able to afford to buy because now you're leasing. Those payments will be a little bit less because you're not really paying towards principal. And so now you're able to get into a nice, maybe luxury car, a higher priced car that you otherwise would not have been able to afford. Also, because you're in a new car, the latest and greatest, and possibly luxury, you'll have the latest and greatest features that other people do not have. That's a pro to getting a lease. And then also, you don't have to worry about the car's trade-in value. You can get the car, you can drive it, and then you turn it in and you're done. You go off to the next car. Now, those are the pros of leasing a car. Now, all of those pros to me are superficial. It just says to me that I want to lease a car because I want to look like I got money that I don't have. I'm looking for status to look good. So I want to be able to drive a car that I otherwise could not afford. I want the latest and greatest. So we're just thinking surface in the material. We're not thinking long term. Long term of wealth, long term of family, long term of wasting money. And so I want to talk about the cons of leasing because as a financial professional and a former financial advisor, I personally would not recommend it to my clients to ever lease a car. Now, if you choose to, that's up to you. I would never tell you what to do. And it's hard to tell anybody what to do without actually sitting down and going through their whole financial situation and understanding what their money goals are when making a recommendation. So my recommendation is just general overall. I do not recommend leasing a car. And the reasons are the cons. One of the cons is a limited mileage. When you lease a car, you can only put so many miles on the car. Most people go over the mileage. And if you go over the mileage, you're going to have to pay for that, right? So now you've got penalties that you're going to be charged at the end of this lease for going over the mileage. I mean, who's not going over the mileage of a leased car? A senior, retired person who doesn't go anywhere like my mama, but guess what? Even she goes places. Even she's always out shopping. Even she's going out of town. So for that alone, a lease may not be great. If you always having to commute back and forth to work, if you like to travel and go places on the weekends, then, you got to watch your mileage. And if you go over, it's a penalty. Maintenance on the car. If you do a little bit more wear and tear on the car, you're going to have to pay for that. They're going to charge you penalties and fees for any over wear and tear on the car. Also, if you decide that you want to terminate the lease, you're going to have to pay fees and penalties. If you want to, you can't customize the car. I mean, most people want to get a car, they want to tint their windows and they want to get maybe some custom upholstery or a paint job or blinged out tires and rims, and you can't do that on a leased car. They give it to you factory, direct from the factory, with whatever the basics that it has, and whatever it has when you got it is what it needs to have when you return it. And so you then cannot customize your car the way you would like to. Another thing is that you still have to pay for normal wear and tear. You know, getting tires, oil changes. Now, some leases may cover oil changes, but tires and all the different things that you have to do with normal wear and tear on a car, you still have to pay for that. That's not covered. So what's the difference? I mean, again, you got a car, it's new. You're not going to have any major repairs on it until about maybe the 4th or 5th year. Most cars come with warranty, those 100,000 mile train warranties to cover things, and then you can always get additional warranty for repairs. And so I just don't know that it's really worth you doing that if you're still going to have to pay for repairs. Lastly, if you lease a car, you don't own it. When that term is up, you have no car. You're forced to get another car. And if you want to keep that car, guess what? You're going to have to buy the car for whatever they want to sell it to you for, whatever it's worth at that time, because everything that you've paid in the last 2 to 3 years on that lease does not go towards the principal of that car. You don't get credit for that. I mean, it's like you're just paying interest only on the car, basically. And so all of that money has just been thrown in the trash for you to now say, I want a car and I want this car and I want to keep it. And then you're starting all over. So now you've paid more for the car than you should have. When ideally, if you want to build wealth, you don't want a car payment, at least not for a little while. So what you want to be able to do is buy a car, pay off the car, and then start saving that car payment money, because now you know that you can afford however much your car payment was, $300, $400, $500. Now you've got $300, $400, $500 free every month that you can now take and invest that money, and then your money make you money, and then guess what you do? Then you turn around and use that money to buy a car. So what you do is you buy assets, and you let the assets make you money, and the money that you make from the assets, you can then turn around and buy a car with that. That's what building wealth is all about. And if you're constantly in debt, well, then how are you going to build the wealth? You're going to have to be able to pay off your debt, pay off your car, and then use that money for investing. I think that's the smart thing to do. Now, what I want to say though is this. People talk about the fact that you can have all these repairs on your car, and listen, a lot of these cars these days, if you really take care of it, if you really maintain it, you won't have a lot of major repairs. I have had my Hyundai Elantra for 11 years, and I have not had to make any major repairs on this car whatsoever. My mom had a Toyota Camry. She had that car for like 12 years, and then she sold it to her sister-in-law, who's had it for like 4 years, and it's still running great. If you take care of your car, most likely you won't have to worry about a lot of major purchases. But if you did, that's what you get a car warranty for, okay? Leasing is just throwing your money out the window. Don't waste your money, okay? Now, for more great wealth tips like this and how to build wealth from scratch, get the book Path to Prosperity, 17 Secrets to Building Wealth that you can start today. All right, I'm giving you all the secrets and all the wealth tips and all step-by-step what you need to do and the foundation you need to create in order to build wealth, to make that money, manage, multiply, protect, and preserve it like the wealthy. So make sure you get it today. The link is in the description.